What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Quantum Ascent. I have Aptos apt up on the screen here. This is the market cap chart. I'll get into why here in a second. Full disclosure, I don't own any Aptos. This was a request from my Quantum Circle group. Figured I'd blast it out here on X and YouTube for you guys. So, reason we need the market cap chart, there is inflationary pressure on Aptos. Real quick, if we go back to that high, that last high there in December of 2024, you can see on the market cap, that was a new all-time high. Right here on the price chart, it was not the all-time high back there in January of 2023. You can also see that this low from December of 22 has been taken out on the price chart. Well, over here, it has not been taken out yet on the market cap chart. So got to use the market cap. We're going to do our TA on here. Then we'll use the percentages and bring that over to the price chart to figure out where exactly Aptos is planning on hanging out here or finishing up its alt season. So if you look on the run up, guys, certainly looks like an ABC. The C wave, very similar in length to the A wave. And you can see that there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move up, ABC down, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move up. So pretty textbook there. ABC run up to the highs. And what we've had since December is just this fall, almost back down here to a double bottom on the market cap. But structurally, you're looking at a WXY. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have an ABC, and then right now, honestly, we're working on what should be a 5-wave move to the lows here on the weekly chart. So you see that you have a 1, 2, certainly looks like we're waiting on 3. So for Aptos, does this have to come up one more time in a wave 4 and then come down again? Certainly a possibility. We could break this down into a shorter time frame count, and it might reveal that it's already at a 5-wave move. We're not going to do that in the video. We're going to operate assuming that the low is in here and the market's going to be moving upwards right now. Okay, so all of that being done, the next thing we need to do is we want to draw our fib ranges out and make sure that we're closing out the ranges. So the first one that we would be looking at is that high there to that low. You can see, yep, close that range out for a 4236 extension. Next, we got to take this A to B drop right there. And if we look at that, you can tell, nope, certainly still plenty of room to run. So that's going to be the primary range that we're looking at right now, right? And that goes to this low here, this B wave low in August of 2024. So at the very, at the very max, we're probably looking at a market cap all the way up here. We'll get to that in a second. Now, across the board, we're looking at a lot of alts to go extensions from that December high to the current low. But what we want to do with that is we want to take a look to see if we can find some confluence between these two ranges. This range that dates back all the way to March, and then this most recent range that goes from December to December, this last 12 months. And if you look, there is one target up here where there's a ton of confluence between the two different ranges, and that's going to be the full extension of this range and the 3618 of this most recent drop. So we're looking right up here in this area. Okay. It should take this drop back relatively quickly, guys. What's the market cap at right now? Is that 115 million? Oh, no, 1.5 billion. All right. So it's a pretty large cap here. So if we're looking at the market cap chart from there, this is up here at, what is that? Maybe 25 billion is what it's looking at. Let's see from a forecast perspective from where we're at right now. 1,600%. That's about a 17x. That is honestly in line with a lot of the alts that we're looking at right now. Reason being is they've just been whacked so hard, right? Like just to even get back up to that X wave, which was in September, from where we're at, that's a 2.7x just to get back to that, right? So again, we're plotting out, we're using probabilities to plot out what makes the most sense. Where are we finding confluence? It's not necessarily that it's going to go all the way up there. That's my best case scenario here for Aptos. So another thing that we can look at, you could tell there starts to be a little bit of confluence up in this area here. A ton of it down here in these retracement ranges. So what I'll say is, guys, not every coin is going to break out into a new all-time high. That's not how it works. We're plotting out, though, if it gets that momentum where it's most likely to end. If you look in here now, you can see that there's a ton of confluence in these ranges, right? And I'll point it out right here. Right there, 0.5 of the recent range and 0.5 of that range are both right there. You can see that the 618s both line up right there, right? That would be like if this thing only goes into a retrace, this is the exact level I'd be looking at. So this is like my conservative target, we would say is going to be up here. Yeah, that's only like a 4x away. In a real alt season, I see that going higher than that. But that's going to be my conservative move right up to that point. Because the 618, that does start to enter the danger zone where typically these things can roll back over. Because this is doing one of two things right now. This is either a macro A, B, C, and our C wave is going to come in with new highs. Or what it is you have this first drawdown here, and this could be the A, the B stops out in retracements, and then in the, the recession depression that I've been talking about comes in for a C leg. So you have to keep these areas in mind. Those are the key retracement levels here. It's not going to be any different there for Aptos. So that's the conservative target. All right. That's my best case. That's my conservative. One more way to look at it is let's get rid of this most recent range right here. Let's just take this last drop from there to there, full extension. You can see that we get out here. There's some confluence right there around the 1618. And so we're taking all these different ranges that come from different times, and we're trying to see how they fit with each other, right? Because the other thing too is if this is a macro ABC like we talked about, right? Well, there's a minimum measured move here, and we know that the C wave has to, at minimum, be the length of the A wave. Well, there's your A wave. Why does this this keeps doing it on this platform? I'm going to use a percent. You should be most of the time using, geez. This software's messing around on me. Try to use the distance when you can. 630%. We're just going to have to approximate 630% from here. Brings us out there, not too far, 9.7 billion. We're looking at like 10.9 billion. So that would end up setting one more new high, and that would be the minimum measured move for this. So for me, if I'm giving you 3 targets, what I'm looking at here is my very ultra conservative is going to be right here. We'll say, I don't want to say primary because I think this thing does have a chance to make a run up here. So we'll just say target 1, target 2, target 3 in this particular situation. Could see us getting up there. So now what we got to do is let's take the measurements. So we're going to say 282% from the current price. And again, this is pretty conservative, 282%. Where does that put us? Puts us up there at like $7.50, $7.50 Aptos. Right there. All right, that's going to be one of our targets, and that's not that far away. We pull up to the next target I talked about, 665% from the current price. Where's 665? Well, that sure does make a lot of sense, and I'll tell you why in a second. Right up here. All right, a lot of people, most people, they don't understand they need to be using the market cap chart. Right? They're going to be using the price chart. So that measured move, where does it take us? Into all of these prior highs. So it would make sense for that to kind of be that $15 level to be our primary target. So that's what we'll mark as our primary. And then if this thing does get going, we've been talking about this level up here because it was a full extension of this first range that we were trying to close out, and the 3618. We're looking at 1750 is the blow off top. Where does that put us here? That puts us right up there at like 3650. So we're going to say conservatively 750, my primary up here at 15, and then our secondary blow off 3675. I know, a lot of math. It should just be more straightforward. You should just be able to use the price chart, but unfortunately, that's not how this works. And if we are not using the market cap chart, you guys are going to end up missing here as alt season rolls on. So that's what I got for you guys. Join the Quantum Circle, entries, exit strategy, emotional, mental clarity, 2 daily macro videos. Link to that in my bio. whole lot more going on over there. If not, just super appreciative you guys are here. If you could follow, like, repost, I want to get this out to as many people as I can before it's too late. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.